Adventures in a Cosmic Suit. How you doing? I'm a little bit chilly, but I decided to come on a show without wearing the yellow jumper for the first time in about 2 months. She's pretty upset. She's in the kitchen on the back of a chair. Anyway, I've got a blue shirt on, and it's a very special show. Always a pleasure to introduce Janine. Hello. Who's muted?
Whoops, there. Hi, Mark. Hi, everybody.
How's it going?
Good, good. A little bit chilly here, but usual for the year.
Yeah, we had a little chat beforehand, and I said, yeah, I feel a bit cold, but then you feel really guilty because Janine's in Canada. It's never colder than Canada. But
Yeah.
how's your Christmas been and everything else? You've been okay?
Really nice, quiet. I had my son come and visit, so he's still here, and that's really fun.
Oh, that's good.
We're enjoying each other's company. Yep.
That's great. I had 2 children in Marrakesh for the week, and we had sunshine on Christmas Day, which was really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So today I've actually got myself organized because I asked what I like to do when I have Janine on the show is do a mixture of questions from me and questions from the audience. But every time I put it up on Telegram, I get like 400 and I have to wade through it. So I've just spent a couple of hours wading through to try and deduplicate and try and keep it relevant to what's going on. Because I know you do this every single day of your life. And I really hate it when I ask you the same questions you've just been asked on a show 2 hours earlier. But that's inevitable, unfortunately. Yep. The way it is. But before I do that, I just want to tell everybody watching that I've convinced Janine to come over to England and Ireland in April.
Yeah.
And we've got a couple of shows on. We've got this one, which is in Manchester. Excuse me, which is I did a live show, Adventures in the Cosmic Suit live back in can't remember when it was, November, I think. And it went amazingly well in an incredible venue. And I as soon as I left the venue, they rang and said, it'll be great if you could do it again. I was like, yeah, let's do it again. And we'll do another live one. And I met Janine. And I said, do you fancy coming to England? And you said yes. So we've got 15th of April currently. The links are below this video, by the way, up for sale. Now, these are up for sale for 22 days. That's the last time I did Adventures in the Cosmic Suit live. It sold out in 3 days. So this, we've got the option of 3 dates. So we're starting on the 15th, which is the Saturday. Then we'll go to the 16th, which is the Sunday. Then the Friday, which is the 14th, if they all sell well. So there's potentially 3 dates. We've got Tom numbers coming. We've got Anya Lilly. If you're not familiar with Anya, she's on my channel. She's an amazing young spiritual singer. She's a healer. She's amazing. And we've got some very special guests that I haven't even told Janine about yet. So that's the page for that event. And if you want to come to that, get those tickets as soon as you possibly can, because you'll miss out if you don't. And then also, I had a lot of people say, well, if Janine's coming to England, why can't she come to Ireland? So I said, okay, well, let's see what we could do. And for that one, it just hit me that Donald Trump's hotel in Doonbeg, which is this place, would be an amazing place to do it. And instead of doing a show, let's do a gala dinner, because that's the way that hotel's set up. So again, these tickets are only on sale for 22 days. There's nearly 100 already sold. If you want to come to that event, that's also going to be an evening you will never forget in Doonbeg, County Clare, Ireland. So the links are below this video. Make sure you go along, and if you want to come and meet us and watch us perform, we're going to do the Manchester show like it's a live show, interactive, and also hopefully by then Janine will be releasing her new book. Do you want to tell them what that's called, because that's exciting?
Yeah, well, I haven't exactly decided on the title, but something around the idea of art by Janine. But I think I'm taking it past just art, because I'm also an artist. So, and it was Mark's idea actually to put some of my work in big, colorful pictures, like a picture book, like a coffee table.
Coffee table.
But then there's so much more to art, in my opinion. How you live your life is art. So I've got a section on funky shacks I lived in the Haida Gwaii, people and places that have inspired me. Then there's going to be at least 15 big full page pictures of my art. And some of it I haven't seen in 25 years. And once it printed up, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, did I do that? I'm so excited. Yeah, I was very prolific artistically, creatively in the Haida. So that was a big inspirational place for me. So I've got also road trip, a whole section on road tripping. So it's going to be a real fun book and a real keepsake, I think, anyway.
That sounds fantastic. You know, when I saw your art when we met in the States, you showed me some of your art. I was like, whoa. It's amazing stuff. And a lot of people watching this don't know I'm a publisher, right? I publish this. Charlie Ward's autobiography, right? This is kind of the coffee table version. Not a lot of people have seen this one, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
You know, so publishing books is part of my... I'm also... Somebody said in the comments, please put your poetry. I'm going to publish my poems from the last 2 years as well. And I'm going to launch that at the Manchester event. And I'm thinking, I don't know what it's going to be called either, but I'm thinking Musings of an Apocalyptimist, Spiritual War Poetry 2020 to 22.
I love it.
You like that one? I've got about 10 titles. I haven't decided yet. So that's all exciting stuff. What else is going on with you, Janine, before we go into the questions? What are you looking forward to in 23?
Oh, man. Everything. Everything's happening in 2023. I mean, there's so many things that I expect, and it's already happening. Like the whole financial system is going gold backed all over the world, sterling backed, gold backed. Like that's actually more, I think, more obvious today than it's ever been. Like, I don't know about you, Mark, but I'm seeing everywhere evidence of that. So I'm looking really forward to when that actually gets mentioned in mainstream media. I mean, maybe it never will. Maybe the mainstream media needs to come down and we need to do away with them before we get any truth. But I'm seeing evidence everywhere about a gold-backed system coming here. The one that Trump put into play in 2018, apparently. So it could have even already been in the back channels. It's already gone in. That's what I believe. Anyway, it's been working and operating side by side. It's just, when does the movie make room for that announcement? I'm not sure. I'm just seeing so much evidence come out, even about the world isn't shaped the way we thought it was. We're getting more and more evidence to that. We're getting more and more evidence. Like, it's all now out there for everybody to see. If you're not seeing it, then you're really not doing your homework, really. It's everywhere. Everything about JFK's death is out there, like everything about 9/11. It's all out there for everybody. And it's just a matter of enough people looking into it and reading it.
Well, loads of things you brought up there. Firstly, with the money, I was talking to some friends the other day trying to explain why I thought this was happening with the gold-backed currency and everything else. And one of the things that I noticed 2 years ago was that I do a lot of international bank payments, and these were taken between 3 to 20 days. And then suddenly they were done the same day. And for me, that was a massive indicator that XRP had replaced SWIFT, because most people don't realize that SWIFT is one of the biggest tools they have used to steal our money. And if you just imagine how the world would be different if the money was instantly transferred. The time of the efficiency, I mean, it's just incredible when you add it all up. And then there's just been tons of people that I've known anecdotally who've had their debts wiped out, from car loans to mortgages to, you know, not just stuff I've read online, people I actually know. And when you look at the prices of the precious metals, and it's definitely happening, but I don't do dates. I can't possibly do dates, but don't ask me to do dates. And everything else that you said, I completely agree with. And we've probably got a lot of questions that are going to relate to all of this. So maybe we should dive into the cards and see. Let me just see if I can pull up my document, because I've never done a document for you before. Let's see if it works. No, it's not showing up. Typical. That's a shame. I put some funny pictures in the documents there, but it's not actually showing. So I'll just start reading some questions. So
Okay.
we'll start with a fun one today. Today, which is December the 28th, would have been Stan Lee's 100th birthday. As you know, Stan Lee created Spider-Man and the Avengers and all of that. So the big question is, considering how Marvel has been used as a political tool in the last 10, 15 years, was he a good guy or a bad guy, Stan? And also, you know, Spider-Man's hand thing is this, that
Yeah.
way up. You know, and there's a lot of stuff about Marvel that's quite Masonic. Oh, you walking around the house again? You do this every time we speak. Let me guess, you're having a dishwasher installed today? No? You're muted again. Unmute yourself. Yes, that little button, the little microphone button. Unmute.
Done. This only happens when I'm on with you, Mark.
I know, what happened? You got a letter?
Yep.
Yeah, you got a letter. All right.
Deliveries.
Yeah, it's the time of day we do it.
Yeah.
So Stanley.
So, Stanley. So say again how you want to ask it.
Was Stanley a good guy or a bad guy?
Interesting. Stanley had a lot of secrets and played on both sides. This card's wishy-washy, so goes both ways. So playing on both sides. Even involved in some really disappointing activities that he knows if they come out, he'd be in a lot of trouble, especially with his public. And it has to do with children, little ones. Yeah, he's worried about secrets, so he's trying to stay independent and not really taking a side. But he's been on both sides, good and bad.
Interesting. I don't think he's too worried about being in trouble because he died a few years ago, but he's
oh, right.
But you know, he's still there in spirit.
Yeah.
And his work continues through some very strange, and there's so many strange things going on with superhero movies at the moment. I don't know if you saw the Superman stuff that happened last week or the week before, which all coincided with Trump's Superman NFT stuff.
Yep.
Henry Cavill was reinstated as Superman in DCU. Then they brought a new guy in to replace the guys running it, and then he got sacked the next day. It's really strange, you know, really, really strange stuff.
Wow.
And I think it's all bringing attention to the superhero thing. Yeah. And the fact that Stan Lee's birthday was trending on Twitter today, I thought, interesting. So that is interesting. Thank you for that. Yeah. Now, another really interesting thing today on the 28th of December is that Satoshi Nakamoto sent his final message onto the Bitcoin forums. And the next day he logged off forever, never to return. Do you know who he is? Satoshi Nakamoto? It's okay if you don't.
Is he the guy who did the water book?
No, that's Emoto. That was
okay. Okay, so I don't.
No, so this guy has had a bigger influence on the world, possibly than anybody in the last 15 years, but nobody knows who he is. So he's a guy who sent out a white paper. Like, I think it was only 2 sides, might have been a bit longer. Don't shoot me down if I've got that wrong. Out to lots of the world's greatest economic minds, and it was a paper. It was a paper about this new idea called cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin. So he's credited as the guy that invented Bitcoin.
Okay.
And there's a lot of interesting things around Bitcoin. There are schools of thought that believe that it was created by DARPA in order to create a way of funneling money for bad things on the dark web. Yeah. There's other people that are evangelical about it and think it's going to save the world. There's other people that think it's all part of the New World Order. So the question is about Satoshi Nakamoto. It's the 12th anniversary today since he sent his final message, but he did all this anonymously because nobody's ever proven who he really is.
Okay.
So the question I've got is, was he a white hat or a bad guy?
Oh. A very unique person. I would even say he could be an other dimensional or off-worlder with that card. So he's a very unique person. Could even be what I call a hybrid. Okay. And definitely working for the good. Definitely working for the good. And actually saw the world as abundant and wanted abundance for all. So his intention was for abundance for all. So if his Bitcoin got used for bad, it certainly wasn't his intention. It looks like he wanted the world to benefit and the ability for abundance to be in everybody's hands, from what I'm seeing here.
That's very interesting. That is very interesting. Can I ask another question about him? I mean, if you've kind of answered it already, but was he a real person?
Okay. He was working with the White Hats. Yeah. Or this is Mr. T and the White Hats, and he had some kind of an agreement or an understanding with them. And we know that the White Hats have been around a really, really long time.
This is really, really amazing in light of the NFTs. Because why was Donald Trump promoting NFTs? I got a big announcement to make tomorrow, and then he comes out with NFTs before he does the thing on freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And I sent you a message. Did you buy the NFTs? And you went, no, I missed them. And I was like, and then me and Tom did a show about it because nothing's by accident.
Yeah.
You know, and so crypto is definitely going to play a part in the future. But we're talking about gold-backed money. We were talking about that at the beginning of the show, and I'm absolutely convinced that we're going to have parity with currencies. We're going to have money based on precious metals. But personally, I don't think it should all be digital. What do the cards say about the type of money? Will it all be digital, or are we still going to have cash? And I know, guys, some of you guys watching this will be like, oh, we don't need money. We need to live in a future without money. I'm sure that time's coming. But in order to, I think the bridging time still involves money, because it's going to take the human race quite a long time to even wake up from what we're going through in the last 2 years, let alone what's coming. So that's the question.
We're going to have both.
That's what I thought.
We're going to have both. So yes to both, because this one was my digital and this one was my physical cash. Yes and yes. They're going to have both, and they're going to transition, and they're planning on at least 8 years with cash.
Great.
So they have a transition period.
Because the crypto was definitely hijacked by cabal, I think. If you look at what they did in India to the guys who work on the tuts and the taxes, they tried to make it all digital, and it destroyed them.
Yeah.
You know, pretty much overnight. So that is very good news, and that's what I was feeling myself. Okay, next question. Another thing that's trending on Twitter today is the term Nuremberg 2.0. And the question is, will it ever happen? Because I don't think anything is trending on Twitter by accident. Let me just put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to happen. So this is careful and patience and careful planning, and this is a breakthrough. So they're using a lot of careful planning, and they've already got it planned from a really long time ago, it looks like. But it's a matter of when's the right time to bring it out in the open, because this breaks through and comes out in the open. And this is slowly but surely. So they had to go through a lot of steps first. before they thought people would actually celebrate something like that, as opposed to be offended by it. So there was a lot of steps they had to do, and a lot of things had to happen first to get to the place where they felt safe. So by the time they bring it out officially, they'll already believe that the general population will actually celebrate it instead of rebel against it.
That's very good. Very good news. While you were doing the answer to that, somebody asked a question that I've got to ask in the live chat. And this relates to me personally, which is why I'm going to ask the question. But the questions are going by so fast, I can't find it now. Somebody asked a question: was the Vietnam War a fight against? Ragamuffin says, Janine, was the Vietnam War fought against giant spiders? Ooh. I have a very personal reason for wanting to ask this question.
This says there's truth and integrity to that comment. Surrender and truth and integrity. So yeah, that's a true statement.
Wow.
And then we have a soft yes in the middle. So that was between these two. Soft yes, truth and so there's more to it. It wasn't just about that, but that was part of it.
Wow. Great question. That's great. I mean,
I'm mind blown right now.
So am I. Because I came into this life in 1969 with arachnophobia.
Wow.
And I never understood why. And then over the last few years with the spiritual multi-dimensional work, there's been a lot of giant spiders involved in that.
Yep.
And there was loads in Tolkien, and then Doctor Who had it in the 70s, and it's just been peppered throughout my life. So I thought that was a very interesting question, because we've all had past lives. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if I came straight out of that into this one. In fact, let's ask the cards.
Interesting.
I've got a tarot reader here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, just for fun though, I'm going to add that in 1969, I was bitten by a spider. So I was born in 61, and I got a spider bite. I still have a little mark on my hand from where it bit me. And I got rushed to the hospital. I can't remember. I think it was a black widow.
Whoa. And This is weird. The first question I asked was about Stan Lee, who created Spider-Man. WTF? Wow. What's going on with this show? This is an 8-legged show.
Yeah. So what was that last question?
So the question is, did I get killed by a giant spider in the life previous to this one? You might as well ask. It's New Year's special.
Yep. Let's have a look.
If you say yes now, I'm going to have to leave the room for 5 minutes for a cigarette.
Wow. Okay, you fought them for sure. So I don't think you were killed by them. None of this says you might have been hurt by them. But I think you came close to dying. But it's like they shut down they shut down your system, and it was like being dead, but you lived. But of course, that would have been traumatizing. So it shuts down your system for a time, they can do whatever they want to you. You're like living, but you're unable to move. You're paralyzed. So they might have done weird things to you while you were in that state, which would have been terrifying, but you lived. Within 5 days, you came back into yourself, basically. But you might have had some really bad memories in that time.
Wow. So all you dead spiders that went down the dark bath plug hole, you now know why. In fact, you don't, because you're all dead. Sorry about that. Next question. Utsava, who I know you like, recently said about McDonald's and fast food and GMOs were being used as a weapon to create sudden deaths along with the other thing. And she said that these fast food places would be disappeared and replaced by healthy food. Now, I've long known about what kind of special ingredients they put into fast food, which is what I think, those food factories that all burnt down last year?
Yeah.
I think that was processing plants for that special ingredient, and that was a
Yeah.
good guy operation. And
I do
think,
too.
yeah, I don't know if I ever saw you do the cards on that, but that just hit me. That's obviously what was
Yeah.
happening. So so there's a couple of questions here. Firstly, I think the fast food ingredients have already been improved across the board. So is that true? Question number one.
Yeah. It's already been done. The world in the past. So any place that's still up and running has been cleaned out. And the Nine of Cups. They knew about this at least 4 years ago, is what I'm getting.
Well,
Gotcha.
did you ever hear that rabbi talking about this about 14 years ago? When I first heard it, and I was like, oh my God, that was a long time ago. And he was boasting about it.
Yeah, horrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that
Well,
was
that's
a
good
big
news.
upper for me, I tell you.
Yeah, it was for me. It was for me. And yeah, I think of course they're going to be, of course they're going to be replaced. All of these places, I think they're all under. I personally think everything's under white hat control, but I get truthers, going, oh no, it's this, and some of the questions coming up are going to reflect this. So I'll stop blabbing and go to the questions for the viewers' questions. So these questions from people on my Telegram channel, and first one's from Marcy Rizzo. How quickly are we going to see new transportation systems in advanced countries such as flying cars or the high-speed trains? Do you want to do a time-based question?
Yeah, I'll just see what we get. Cards are a little unique that way, right? They're not that accurate on time, but we can get an idea. Are we talking years or months?
Okay.
We can get that idea for sure.
Cool.
Okay, so all of the technology is already there. We got an 80%. They're working on bringing it forward. So it's not like they don't already have the technology to do those things. And I'm pretty sure by the sound of the question, the person asking knew that. Okay, so, and they're waiting on it. There's agreements made on the back channels, probably with companies that already are flying people. And so it's almost like the airlines are obsolete already, and they know it already. Like, I feel like this is just like the gold-backed money system. It's waiting in the wings to go ahead. And a lot of things have to change first. So within a year, I'd say, and by more like the end of 2023, this card is a major arcana, could take a whole year because there's a lot of things going to take priority to come out first, but they already have it. And they're probably already creating the way to do it in the background. And it feels like they've got companies on board that are going to switch over to this.
You realize you just said the sentence that the airline industry is obsolete already, and they've got this stuff waiting in the wings. Did you realize you said that?
Oh, good one.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I was on Ryanair last night, and I was thinking this needs to be obsolete. It's so bloody uncomfortable.
Yeah.
My neck still hurts. That's, also there was that American general about 5 or 6 years ago at a university, at a public talk, who said we already have the technology to go from New York to Australia in 10 minutes. And I've seen the ships, so it's there. So that's good news. It's on its way. Hope that's answered your question, Marcy. There was a guy earlier in the chat, and he's gone too far for me to find him. But I want to ask this question to continue from the Bitcoin question. I think his name was XRP something, and so the question is specifically to continue that Bitcoin question. Will Bitcoin go to zero? Yes or no? Nice and simple.
It'll get close, but not all the way to zero. And it might even be where, as low as it goes, it might have already hit its lowest. Okay, because we've got a 10 in the middle, which is like it's already really close to being at its lowest or has already been at its lowest, and it's going up from there. It'll take time though. Again, there's going to be some things have to get sorted out and changes made to the system. So there's manipulation in the background that's controlling, what happens next with it. But I don't think it gets too much lower than where it is.
Interesting. Thank you. Okay, next viewer question. This is from Karine Holtis. Hello, Karine. I assume you're watching. What are the White Hats' tactics regarding mainstream media globally? Is that a kind of question you can answer?
What are the tactics that they're using?
I mean, I think they're in control of everything. I've said this before.
Okay.
I might be wrong, but I think there was quite a few questions about this in terms of mainstream. It looks to me very much like in the last couple of years, they've been shifting the narrative using MK Ultra techniques to get us to the other side of this. So I guess it's an update on that.
Yeah. So there's still some people that didn't get the memo. They're in charge in the back channels. They're the new boss. So they're fully in charge, but they're letting people, it's almost like it feels like they're catching people in a net is the feeling I'm getting. So there's still people they need to catch in the act of doing things and or get stuff on. Okay, so they have a reason why they're doing it the way they are, but they're actually in charge in the background. They took charge quite some time ago. Yeah, and we're so close to seeing these guys completely go down, you guys. We're so close. They just need to prove that some of these people were acting on behalf of or sort out who was acting literally in the know on behalf of the bad guys. I don't know if this goes on YouTube, so I'll say the dark hats.
Yeah, okay. We're live on YouTube.
Okay, good. Okay, so they're still sorting through who knew that they were getting their info from these guys. So they're basically entrapping them. If they're trying to sort through who actually knew what they were doing and who actually was just doing their job. Not to say that forgives everything anyway, but it probably lightens the sentence a bit.
Well, the interesting thing about crypto is that it's based on blockchain, and blockchain is an irrefutable ledger. So I think that's used often as an example of how things can be kept private, but it would be very, very interesting if there was a way for them to monitor that. Although that brings up a whole can of worms, which I'm not going to get into on this show, but that is very interesting. Okay, Gary Clark is asking, will the rapture happen in 2023? Gary from Swindon in England. There's been a lot of predictions about the rapture. I thought I'd throw it in there. Don't forget, these are your questions, not mine.
Rapture. Well, interesting. So we got a soft yes, and we've got a strength card. So some version of a taking down of the dark hats will happen. And that'll wake up a lot of people, it looks like. But I feel like using the word rapture might be confusing the cards, because I don't think it'll be exactly how the rapture. This is a 50% card, or letting something go, or something's not. That's not altogether clear language. So the rapture people might conjure up a certain visual for the rapture, and I don't think it'll be exactly like that. It's going to be different from that visual that you conjure up with the traditional idea of the rapture, but it's something like that. A big event looks like it happens, and it's going to expose these guys, and it's going to shift things. But I don't think it'll be exactly like the rapture, how it's been talked about.
So a lot of it is down to interpretation of what these events are.
Yeah.
Like solar flare, rapture. Yeah. Everybody's got a very clear idea, and there's a very different idea of what those things are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Next one is from Margaret Kerwan. Yeah, this has been asked by quite a few people, and I'm sure you've been asked it before, but I'm going to ask it. Could you ask Janine, are ascension symptoms real? They are for me.
Me too. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We don't even need to ask anymore. This is a big, huge yes. An enthusiastic yes. You bet. They're real.
Right. We answered that one. Good. I could have answered that without the cards. Yeah, this is from Nancy Isabel. Could you ask Janine about the province of Quebec in Canada, the province that's extremely corrupt? Is the MP Francois Legault still here, or has he gone to the spa? And apologies for my French pronunciation, JC, if you're watching. I've just been in Marrakesh doing really bad French in restaurants, so.
That's funny. Okay, see that? A deal was struck with him. So he's actually working for the good guys now. He's been bad, working for the good guys. And he's actually helping to expose the bad guys by putting it right in people's faces. He'll be dealt with later in the year. They're not ready to deal with him yet. He's still useful. So he's puppeted, let's say.
Okay, cool. Hope that's answered that one for you, Nancy. Right, Beverly Smith. Yeah, this question, I don't know if I'm going to ask that one, Beverly. Beverly's asking about, she's been learning about the light we're directed to when we pass on that is fake by the malevolent ETs and is only there to redirect us back to yet another reincarnation. How would one know how to bypass this? Thanks, love your work. Now, my view on that is that there was a reincarnation machine and it was deactivated and it's no longer in use and we're staying in these bodies. What do the cards say?
I get it'll depend on the person. If you're comfortable the old way, you'll keep reincarnating. If you're comfortable living a lot longer and staying in your body, you'll go a different route. So I feel like that's different for everybody. You're going to have to sort that out for yourself. I feel like you have a choice there.
So you either get into a Ferrari or an old Mini. I know which one I'm getting in. Who's next? Katrin Håkestad. For a couple of years, Norway has had 4 permanent American military bases with its own jurisdiction. The last time this happened in Norway was World War II and the Nazis. Is it going to be good or bad? Have you heard about these military bases in Norway?
Nope.
Norway's popped up a few times for me in the last couple of weeks. Seems to be things going on in Scandinavia. Well, there is everywhere.
Okay, it looks like it's going to be good. Things are getting better there. They're getting better. And just at the beginning on the other side of, so they're more cleaned out than the last time I looked. So I don't know if that answers the question. And they're more independent and on their way to becoming really independent and sovereign as beings in Norway, independent of that system that we're fighting against right now. They're independent of it. There's still, of course, some hangover, and you're still seeing some of it play out, of course. So it's not going to look perfect yet, but in time and over the next year, much more independence and really getting back to a place where you can really feel like a sovereign nation. You might have to start from scratch with a lot of your systems, like all of us, but this is good news, I think. Would that answer the question?
I think that's a great answer, and it brings up a couple of questions as well, because I saw somebody's mentioned in the comments about the trolls in the mountains in Norway. and I saw this Netflix. I can't remember if it was a TV series or a movie about trolls, huge ones. You know, and they're hunting these things. And there was a movie a few years ago called Trolls. And I watched a video the other day. You might have seen it. If you have, we could talk about it. If you haven't, it doesn't matter. But it was a video about a guy on TikTok who was just an ordinary TikToker. And then he was out one day and he saw this giant on the side of the hills, and he was filming it. And then these CIA, FBI guys, whatever, stopped him, and then he disappeared, and then he died. Did you see that? That was amazing.
I just read about that before I came onto this show. First I'd seen of it.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Wow.
What a video. Because that was huge. And the giant, a lot of people talking about the giants waking up under Florida, in Afghanistan, trolls in Scandinavia. Okay, so we'll ask a question about giants then, because are giants coming back into reality, I suppose is the question. I mean, I think they've always existed. I think they still exist, but are they coming back into our reality?
Yep. So this is going into new territory, and they've been hesitant, and you could even say in hiding. Okay, and I feel like they're in other areas that aren't on the plane we're on. Okay, so maybe that goes to the shape of the earth here. Okay, because I think maybe they were beyond what people thought of as the ice wall or something. I'm not sure how it works, but they were extraterrestrial in a way. So they lived in different lands than what we call Earth. Okay, so there's a yes here, but I feel like you won't really see them till at least next year, at least another year, like where you literally see them. Yeah.
I mean, you've only got to, I mean, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. We've got the Giant's Causeway. We've got the Sleeping Giant down the road here. It's just everywhere. It's everywhere. How can it be? How could they not be real?
Yeah.
Is my point. That's going to be very interesting because I don't want to be trod on by a giant. So I need a very fast car, please.
They're very kind towards humans for the most part, according to what I get here. Yeah.
Yeah. Right up to the point where they bite your head off. Nice.
Well, I hope they don't bite our heads off, but
so do I. Right. Yeah, I'm going to bring Phil G into this. Phil G re-telegrammed me the other day, which was nice. He gets a lot of stick, which means he's probably a good guy. Yeah. Is there any truth to what Phil G said in a recent live that the reason so much of what we were sure was going to happen, like cancelling the 2022 midterms in the US and the revealing of the quantum financial system, etc., but did not happen, is because of a bioweapon powerful enough to wipe out humanity within weeks? Interesting that Elon used the term bioweapon today in Twitter. He used that word. He said gain of function should actually be bioweapon. So he's really going for Fauci at the moment. And then this bioweapon would have killed everybody, including themselves. That's how deep that hatred runs. This is a long question. However, supposedly the White Hats were finally able to seize it, completely destroy it, and is no longer a threat. This also will finally enable the plan to move forward, which we see beginning to happen in every genre. Is there any truth to this? Was there this very powerful bioweapon? I think so.
We got truth and integrity cards. So this is truth and integrity, and she brings it straight up truth. She's very direct about it. Okay. And then here we've got, I think he brought that information out. He knew about it a long time ago, but he couldn't say anything. So they chose the time till everything was in a, so I'm going to say yes to what he said there. And I've never read on this before. I've never read that. I watched the video that Phil G was talking on, and I just never read on it yet. This card says they waited till everything was safe for humanity. And so we're past the fear of it. So SG and on brought out that there's going to be some, it's like he heard wind of it, and he brought it out like it might be an Ebola thing. And then Phil G comes on and says something quite different. And I'm going to have to go with Phil G's interpretation here.
Very interesting. I think we've dodged a bullet anyway, guys. I mean, I think this is timelines collapsing all the way through. I've been an optimist all the way through. Don't ask me why. It's the way I'm made. So I think all of it's designed to get us to get rid of fear.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people who are really, really good researchers and truthers who still believe we're being chemtrailed to death, still believe the vaccine, the V is going to kill everybody. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Okay. I'm just trying to look for another one that I like this one about the Mandela effect. Sandra B, the Mandela effect appears to show us how timelines are shifting. What is our lesson in relation to the Mandela effect? I just kind of brought that in.
I think it was already spoken. It's to show us how time runs, maybe even parallel to each other. This feels like parallel more than anything. That feels like running at the same time here. So different than we thought it was anyway. So I feel like, yeah, it's exactly that. It's to show us, and it's almost like the beginning of exposing that in a way we could understand it. It's like it's going to seep into our consciousness with that little bit, and then pretty soon it'll get more comfortable. And I feel like what I call the Alliance are very spiritual energies. They're our future selves, and they know what it would take and how much we can take at one time. If they just dropped all of that on us, I think we literally will learn that we can step in and out of different realities at the same time. So I think it's just the beginning of exposing that, exactly like she mentioned.
I do that all the time. It's called magic mushrooms. I can't help the mushroom jokes. It's such a shame I can't show you this picture. Somebody asked a question about how did Roland Rat get to be Prime Minister, and I went to the effort of finding a picture of Roland Rat next to Rishi Sunak. It's just making me laugh, but you can't see it. I know we're running out of time. Valerie Walters, can you ask Janine about the dream you had about the Black Swan event? I watched that show that you did. That was very interesting because you got the words Black Swan event.
Yeah.
And you said the card said the event should be between 3 and 7 days this week. Is that still on track? Was the timeline changed?
Let's have a look.
That was a great show, by the way.
Oh, thanks. It was so intense, the dream. I woke up right after I saw the banner. It was, and I was shocked because we expected it to say something else. And that's where I think the message was there. This is not something we're going to expect. So we can play around with all of these scenarios. It's not going to be when we expect it or what we expect.
This is the funny thing about all of that. I had a really strong vision a few weeks ago, and it was like the CND logo.
Yeah.
And I asked people what it was because it looked like a rune to me, and it looked like something that had been hijacked by the bad guys, blah, blah, blah. But it was so powerful that it snapped me up like this. And then my friend Ian Welch sent me a video yesterday of the sun that he filmed, and in the rays was the same symbol coming out of the rays. And I was like, and this is what's going on. All these parts of consciousness are revealing themselves to us as we can cope with them. And it's not always easy. But yeah.
Oh, we're looking on schedule to me here, or we're definitely, it's coming. So there's a lot of energies, entities moving towards, or this is a speeded up card. And it says all the signs say yes to that. So everything's in order. So it feels like nothing's stepping in the way yet. It's all systems go. And I'm thinking we're on track with when. Wow. So it's going to have something to do with the financial system, I'm thinking, looking at these two cards, because this is big money. This can be big money. They're both abundance. This can be gold or gold backed with that sun, and she's abundance for all. So we could be talking the Trump and the White Hats version of, I don't know if I could say the Gisara. Can I say that?
Well, you just said it.
I guess those words that go together. So I won't say it again.
Yeah. Sounds like Bizarra.
Yeah.
Zara
And
Katara.
and a system that's backed by gold. I think it has something to do with the financial system. Anyway, looking at these two.
I just had a vision then. We do this gig in Ireland at Trump's Hotel. We should get Mr. T and the White Hats to be the backing band. Imagine
Somebody
if
should start a band called that.
I know they should. Tom's in the chat. Hi, Tom. I was talking to Tom the other day, and we were saying it would be great if he just came in.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
What's going on here? Anyway, we dream on.
Yeah.
We dream on.
Yeah.
That's all good. And that kind of ties in what I think was it Phil. Somebody said in the comments Phil was talking about EBS in December, which gives us 3 days. But don't live on hopium, guys. Just, take one day at a time. Live in the present moment. Things move.
It's coming. Let's just say that.
It's coming. Okay, just checking more questions. How long have you got, Janine?
I got 10 more minutes.
Okay. Looking for the most interesting question. This is from Jill, my friend in Manchester. And she says, I believe the original Knights Templars have reincarnated in this time to assist us in the awakening. What do the cards say on this? I like that question.
I'd say yes. And they're maybe heading the good military. They're definitely involved in what I call the white hat military. Because that's my good and that's my military.
That's very interesting.
That's where they're hanging. I'd say yes, because these two cards are really excited, sort of great. So it's almost like the universe says, oh, somebody had a breakthrough and an awe moment with that question. So to me, it's like, yeah, you bet.
Well, Jill, who put that question in, when you come to Manchester, Jill collected over many years an esoteric library of books that's in the venue we're going to that you're going to love. And then we should donate our books to the library because it's an incredible library. There's some really rare pieces in there. You're going to want to spend a few hours in Jill's library.
Wow.
Thanks for that question, Jill. Very interesting. And she's got lots to tell you about the venue as well, which is all connected to the Rosicrucians and everything else.
Wow.
And other things that I can't tell you about here. I'm going to ask another question from Jill because everybody's interested. Is King Charles III a clone, and will the coronation of Charles III really take place?
So those are kind of two questions. So is he a clone? Was that one of them?
Yeah. I mean, I've met him. That was not him.
At first, I thought you said clown, and I was going to say, well, yeah.
Well, we know the answer. We don't need the cards for that. It'll be a very short show.
Okay. And I think a living human. And maybe one of many so that represent him. So a representative of him. So we know he's a Scorpio. This is an earth sign. So the latest version is, so somebody playing him who's not actually him, because this is an earth sign, but around the same age group as he would be, right? And he's got a couple that they might take turns playing him. And I've definitely noticed at least two. And let's see. So we've got 7. So this is around, will it take place? There's a big push towards, I feel like they haven't decided that yet. They might think they need it to, that's strategic. So they're still strategizing what would be best. And this is like maybe some egos battling it out, whether they should or shouldn't. That doesn't feel like it's settled yet.
Good stuff. Right. One more question. And this is, I like this question because I was asking it myself. I'm just trying to find who wrote it. It's a question about why can some people see 2 suns in the sky and other people can't? That's
I've definitely seen 2 sons.
So have I. I've got 3 and 2 daughters. Ho ho!
Okay, let's have a look. Okay, I think you need to be on a level of creativity or think in a creative way. So it might be allowing yourself to see it. This feels like you have to be a sort of on a level of creativity or with your own personal creativity. So it's about how much you're allowing.
I think it's
Because
the
we
same.
can block things out.
It's the same with the ships.
Yeah.
It's the same with the dragon made of light I saw last year.
Yeah.
I've been saying the same thing to people. You know, why can't I see them? Well, it's, you know, it's all to do with your frequency and where you're at.
Yeah.
And that fluctuates depending upon what you're eating, how much you're sleeping, whether you're grounding
Yeah.
yourself. It's all, that's why we've talked about all these things for the last couple of years, for this very reason. Cool. Right, you need to go and channel some of that into your new book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Sounds really exciting the way that you're going to break it out like that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Art by Janine.
Yeah, because life is your living art piece, right? So how you live your life is your creative, presentation to the world. That's what I think, anyway.
We are art.
Yeah.
Try saying that when you've had a drink. We are art. It's hard. Well, look, thanks very much. Wonderful. Really good. Really enjoyed that show. Hope you did. I'll speak to you very soon. And I don't know, did we say Happy New Year now? Is that still a thing?
I think, sure. I'm looking forward to 2023. 23 is my favorite number.
Is it?
I love the number 23. And I'm just so excited about the year. I just know it's going to be brilliant. And there's going to be bumps and it won't be overnight brilliant. But I just feel in general, we're going to look back and go, this was all worth all the trouble. And we're going to better places, people.
The best is yet to come.
Yep.
All right. Wonderful. Take care, Janine. Thanks everybody for watching. See you later.
See ya.
Bye.